what floored me was that they told me thousands of people have become Christians because of those little MP3 players.
That's cool.
Thousands. They said hundreds of churches had been planted and
Wow.
hundreds of preachers were being trained actively.
Welcome back to the E-Forge Podcast, where kingdom entrepreneurs are forged into high-impact leaders and legacy builders. I'm your host, Cory Long. Today, I'm sitting with my friend, Wes Woodell, and his story is incredible. Wes has worn a lot of hats: church planner, digital student, marketing agency owner, and now a leader helping churches and ministries build the systems and the tech stacks they need to thrive in a digital world. Beyond that, he's working on a groundbreaking way to spread the gospel globally, using a special device that can be sent anywhere in the world to put God's word in people's hands. And as you know, part of what we do here is highlight kingdom impact. So I also want to make sure and mention Rise Recovery St. Louis, a ministry that's close to my heart, helping women overcome addiction, reclaim their lives through discipleship, that Wes started. Both Wes's work and Rise Recovery remind us when we innovate for the kingdom, lives are changed forever. Let's dive in. Wes, man, it's great having you. I know you and I just got to see each other the other day because you were in Lubbock talking about kind of some of the things that you got going.
Yep.
Give us a little idea about all of the things, because I know you and I got into this a little bit, but being a church planner, right now being the preacher and leading a church plant, trying to juggle the digital business, plus some other things that you have going on. Probably a dozen. Just a minute ago, your wife's asking you to move heavy stuff.
I came in here out of breath. That's right.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about kind of what's going on and what you're really dialed into right now as far as the progress and where you want to move in the future.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, Cory. It's good to be here. I've enjoyed listening to the podcast, and it's fun to be a guest now. But we have a lot going on. We've got a church software company that we are starting, and we're right at the beginning of this AI boom.
Yeah.
And when AI first became a thing, I was an early adopter. Starting a marketing agency years ago put me in the realm of search algorithms, and a lot of this AI stuff is related to search algorithms. And so if you learn an in-depth, develop an in-depth knowledge of search algorithms, you are also developing an in-depth knowledge of how LLMs function and work. So when you go and start playing around with them, there's all kinds of things you will notice just because of your proclivity towards understanding that stuff. And so I don't know, I always liked tech, and so started playing around with that, and now we've got what is going to be a full-blown AI company that's leaning into building church Bible study tools, and the church software platform that we're developing is just one part of a larger suite of what we hope will become the world's best Bible study tools. My ultimate goal is I would like to put the world's best Bible study tools in the hands of people who would never have access to them.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking, places where there's no infrastructure and no electricity, and it's very difficult to get the words of Jesus, sometimes even in the language of people in places like that. And so what is it going to take to get the gospel into the hands of these people? Well, I want to position myself to be able to put the infrastructure in place to make that happen. And so I'm trying in these businesses to make strategic moves to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so everything I'm doing is kind of for that larger goal is we want to put the gospel in people's hands.
Yeah, you've got, I know you guys planted the church there in Collinsville, Illinois, and then you kind of got your hands in a lot of different things right now. From a church standpoint, especially with the software that you guys are developing and kind of what you're wanting to do, like what are the advantages? Because I know you and I both know each other from church for decades now. What are churches struggling with right now from the tech stack standpoint? Because you and I talked about this a little while back. Like the things that you guys are building should literally create like a one one and done instead of having to buy this and get
Yeah.
that
So
and then do this. And
stateside, and we're pre-launch on that. Essentially, we're just building a stack of tools together and putting it in a package that churches can get for a low monthly price. It's all the stuff that I have enjoyed using over the years.
yeah,
I've been built my first church website in 2005, and so I've played around with tools, for the last 20 years, and kind of whittled down what I like and what works well and what kind of plays nice in the sandbox together. And so we rolled out a suite of tools where we offer churches Advanced Sermons Pro, agency license for that. For sermon management online, we offer the events calendar, which is a WordPress suite. If you've got a WordPress website, it works really good for event management. It'll make your registrations and things like that seamless. We integrate Stripe for nonprofit donations. We can integrate that all through your website. One of the nice things about this is we're putting everything in a suite together for $197 a month.
wow,
And it's like 4 or 5 different things that I would individually have to pay a chunk just for that one
yeah,
tool. For instance, like the donation management, the software we were using just to manage our online donations was $129 a month.
wow,
And that was just to set our website up to just to take donations. So our church was paying $129 a month just for software to take donations.
yeah,
What we're offering now through this new business we're starting is a software package where for just a little bit more, not only are you going to get donation management taken care of, you're going to get event management taken care of, you're going to get sermon management taken care of, you're going to get text and SMS and email and several other things, all the things that are offered in like a go high level platform. That's another one of the tools that we build on. And so you get to have access to all this stuff for cheap,
yeah,
compared to what you would pay for some of the others. And we also don't add a cost for additional users. So it's unlimited users, which is also
wow,
for church software different. Normally you're going to
very
add,
different.
$14 or $15 per user. So when you got
Yeah,
20 people, it adds up monthly. You're paying that monthly. It's not a one-time cost. So it's
yeah,
$14 or $15 per month. And so it's just little nickel dime things like that. So this is we basically built something for our own church and our other church plants to use. And we were like, hey, this is good enough. We should let other people have this and we should package it. And we also have at our churches been very, people, I'm not trying to brag, people look at us as an example of good evangelism, and
yeah,
we focus on disciple making. And so these tools are kind of built by people whose minds already are behind crafting,
yeah,
systems in churches that are reaching lost people. And so when it comes to evangelism and getting people into Bible studies and things like that, those are all part of our core values. And so we craft everything with that in mind.
yeah. I know when we came and spent some time with you, it surprised me, and it still surprises me because we visited a lot of churches. And when we came and visited you, most of that room that was most of the people that were there for Sunday morning services, they were new babes in Christ. They were brand new Christians or fairly new Christians that had gone through Bible studies with you guys. And that is just a different feel than going into a church that's been around for 50, 60, 70 years and all of that. It was very refreshing to get around such a really a ministry and evangelism focused church. And I know that's what you guys do. You kind of go in, you plant churches in places where there's colleges or somewhere that you can actually go in and start discipling, getting into Bible studies and doing that. Talk a little bit about what it's like to juggle ministry full time and all these entrepreneurship things that you kind of juggle full time. Because I know we have a lot of people that watch that they're very ministry minded, they're kingdom minded people. How has that worked? Because I know you and I have had this conversation a lot through the years.
I think it was easier when I was starting out because when I started the business, it was I'm going to do this 2 days a week,
Yeah,
and I'll be happy if I get some grocery money.
yeah,
And we did well, and we're able to take the money and reinvest it in other businesses. I've never paid myself very much for many of these. but that working a couple days a week was really important. Now that's been a challenge to maintain
Yeah.
as we have
It's
added.
because you
So
keep starting new businesses.
we have four or five. Oh,
Yeah.
four. We're closing the call. Yeah. We have started more. Ariel has her own that's gone. She's got a digital magazine, which she
Yeah.
just did a promotion locally where they're having a cruise giveaway that they're doing right now. So that's something that she's worked on. She's got like 13 businesses that have signed up as sponsors through that. So she's
Good for
getting,
her.
they're all getting a piece. Yeah. So she's hustling. And then I'm kind of pivoting away from the agency more into the software, but I have found it a challenge to maintain the schedule where I'm only working a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where I'm at is I have been successful in the on the business side, but with that has come added responsibility. It has come clients needing things and asking for stuff.
Yeah.
It's come with me needing to learn new skills in how to be an operator and organize things I'm not very good at. When you have a growing business, if you're not good at certain things, a growing business is going to show you what you're not good at.
Yeah. It spotlights you.
And if you don't get somebody around you to help, you're going to be in trouble. And so I'm at a point now where I'm overwhelmed and I'm trying to actually take on an investor for this project with AI that I'm working on so that I can get the support staff around me. And I've got a couple of engineers
Yeah.
that I really want to be able to just bring on full time because we'll be able to scale some things. But that's where I'm at. I'm not in a good place on that today.
Yeah.
But it's because we've been successful. And so the church is doing good in terms of growth. We've got challenges. We've had a bunch of crap happen the past year that's been really hard.
Sure.
And there's been stress and stuff, and there's ongoing, problems with some of that. But the church overall is doing good. We're reaching people. We are growing. Got new believers every week, people that are becoming Christians. And so there's a lot of good that's happening, but a lot of challenges. And that's just by itself. We've got on top of the church, we've got Rise Recovery that we
Yep.
started. There are challenges with Rise Recovery when you start bringing ladies in off the street
Yeah.
and they've been on drugs for the last 20 years and they're just getting off drugs. There's challenges with that. And so that's a hard ministry. And so we're loving on those ladies as they're coming in, but that we meet them where they are and where they are is
Yeah.
not good. And so that's just that's a hard ministry. But it's going
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
helping people.
And that has to be
Um,
funded and all of that too,
it
just
does.
like what
It
you're talking
does. And
about.
so, we've got right now, we owe $3,500 in property taxes that the county will not forgive. Because whenever
Yeah.
you buy property, it doesn't matter how quickly you submit that nonprofit paperwork, the county's going to get theirs that first year,
Yeah. Yeah.
depending on the
Yeah.
county in Illinois. And so even
Yeah.
though you submit nonprofit, they're like, hey, we're not going to forgive that last year you weren't registered in time. And it's like, well, it wasn't physically possible to register. Well, too bad. You owe us $3,500. So
Isn't that
there's that.
crazy?
Yeah. And so stuff like that. But we'll get it done. We've got a great
Yeah.
group of people here.
I think that's neat to see. I Part of the entrepreneurial problem is that we have entrepreneurial seizures. That's what we call them a lot of times around here, where we see all of these opportunities. Because you and I, we've talked about this. There's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
You can have success in all the different areas of life that we've talked about, even so far, with businesses and multiple businesses, and then ministries, multiple ministries. Just running one ministry is hard enough. Running a nonprofit, trying to keep it afloat, get everything moving, keep everything moving with that. The ministry by itself is enough to keep you full time busy. The businesses, having multiple businesses and now looking at an investor and looking at kind of ramping all of that up, it's just a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to to do. But I do know, like you said, you've got a good team around you. You've got a lot of people that are involved in all the different ministries, and the businesses even. So
Well, and it's
I
neat to be able to
yeah.
see the results too.
Oh yeah.
Like when you see tangibly that, hey, this person, their life is better,
Yeah.
it makes it worth it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so just having that around me, it's encouraging. It
Yeah.
really is.
Well, and you guys are, your house is always full. Like when we were there, you guys are always hosting something. Your house is full of college kids or church members or a Bible study or a something, a cook-off. I don't know, whatever. There's always something. Usually there's meat smoking in the background of the house and something's happening, right? There's always something kind of going on. And that's just kind of who you guys are, which has been cool to watch. Because I think that's the spirit of the church that you guys have. It's a very family home. It's very together, and so that's something that's been really neat to watch.
Yeah.
As you're looking at the rest of this year, it sounds like you said you're going to kind of back off the digital agency some, kind of pivot as you go into the other things that you're doing. Where do you find that you're going to want to put your time and energy? Because I know, like you and I've talked about before, you lean into the tech stuff, even though you're really good at the other side of the business too, the sales and the vision and all of that too.
My goal is to get these devices built and on the mission field.
Yeah.
So what ignited me on this, I had already been thinking about how AI devices could help missionaries.
Yeah.
And then I heard about Sunset Bible Institute, which is a Bible college in Lubbock, Texas. They have these solar powered MP3 players that they had specially manufactured that have an SD card slot where they could plug in their Bible curriculum. They plug in a copy of the whole Bible, like just the
It's
text of the
wild.
Bible, but then also their Bible classes. And so these things have like over 1,000 hours of audio, and they can be put in a couple of different languages, and they're solar powered. So they're able to send pallets of these things
Yeah.
onto the mission field into places where people don't have infrastructure and don't have electricity, don't have access to media a lot of the time. And this is their only media is this little MP3 player. And what are they doing with this little MP3 player? They're listening to it and learning the word of God in their language.
Yeah.
Now, what floored me was that they told me thousands of people have become Christians because of those little MP3 players.
That's cool.
Thousands. They said hundreds of churches had been planted and
Wow.
hundreds of preachers were being trained actively. And the way they were being trained is they would send these devices into an area where there may be 70 or 100 different dialects,
Oh my.
and people do not talk between dialects. In some of these places, where like an island will only speak that island's language, and there's like 70 people on that island. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. And so what happens is there's a trade language usually like Spanish or something. And so there'll be one or two people on an island that speak Spanish. And so what are you going to do? If you want to communicate with anybody on that island, you got to go get that one person that speaks Spanish. And so what they're doing is they're getting people like that in a room, and they're getting 7 or 8 or 9 of them. And there'll be, a guy that'll play one of these players. The Spanish speaker will play one of these players and listen to it in Spanish for 2 minutes. And then he'll hit pause, and then he'll translate it
Translate.
into the local dialect. And that's how that island is getting their Bible training.
That is wild. That's wild.
So when you think about what AI could do, they're doing that with an MP3 player. They're taking a little MP3 player that has the word of God on it, and they are milking that thing for everything it's worth.
Yeah.
And they're leading people to Jesus Christ because they have the word of God. They may not be able to read,
Yeah.
they may not be able to have access to electricity or running water, but they can get one of those little MP3 players that has the word of God on it, and they can memorize it, and they can take it in their heart with them, and they can go share it with somebody. And they're leading people to Christ because of an MP3 player. And so if a little MP3 player can do something like that, how much more effective would a device be that had not just the ability to play audio, but had the ability to answer questions?
Yeah.
What if it
Yeah.
had the ability to listen and get context and give information based on what a person needs?
Yeah.
That's how a good teacher teaches. That's how a good student learns best. And we can take these little devices and make them 100,000 times better than what they are. And if these little things are reaching thousands as they are, I think we can make them reach millions
Yeah.
as we can make them. What I
Yeah.
need help with is I need investment so that I can put the pieces into place to make this happen. I've already got myself positioned where I'm going to be able to have access to the resources. I just need access now to the resources in terms of capital to put people in place because the engineers I need to build this stuff, they have jobs and
Yeah. They want to pay
they
their, they
have
want
they
to,
have
yeah.
they have mortgages.
Yeah.
And I just need to give them a couple years to come work with me. If I can give
Yeah.
them 2 years, I can build this stuff. So that's what I'm looking for right now as an investor partner to come basically give me 2 years with these guys.
The devices that you're wanting to send out would be an AI solar powered device.
I don't know.
They'd be able to have a conversation with it, be able to
Yeah,
ask
it'll
it
be some
questions.
kind of device. The exact when you start looking at the logistics of putting these in the field, when you look at what has, the MP3 player, for instance, that's a board with a little power source, speaker. The components we would need to add would be CPU. When you add CPU, it generates heat. You don't just need a
Oh,
CPU, you need a beefy CPU. Not only do you need a beefy CPU, you need at least 6 gig of RAM to make it work, at least 8 gig make it work fast. And so
yeah.
you're talking about making little heaters.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're talking about putting them things out on the mission field where they're going to be wet because you
Hot.
have to open up ventilation. When
Yeah.
they're going to run hot, you got to have ventilation. Then you open up moisture, you open up sand, grit. What if a cell phone would work better? Okay, put a cell phone out on the mission field. To put a pallet of cell phones out on the mission field. See what happens to that pallet of cell phones. That pallet of cell phones will not stay
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
deal with anything that could be sold in a supply
Yeah.
line and theft. And so there's all kinds of logistical things that we have to work out with. We do have groups, and I'm doing research into this and talking with all the people that know. And so these are the kinds of things that we will have to work out. I need R&D and I need time. But
Yeah.
what I can tell you is I'm working with some of the smartest people in the world, and we can do it. If
Yeah.
it can be done, we can figure it out, and we will. And we just need help
Yeah.
to,
I
to
get
to be able
it.
to do it. You know what I mean? So
I
that's
get it.
that's kind of where we're at right now.
I know you were here talking to the guys here at Sunset about kind of what they're doing, how they're doing it, and all that. What do you envision? Where do you envision these devices initially going? Like, what's because I know you and I were talking about this a little while back. Even we have college students in our ministry right now that they lived in the Middle East, and where they were, it was underground churches where they were at.
Oh,
They
yeah.
grew up
I
that way.
I think Sunset had some recommendations
Mm,
of places to send them. I think infrastructure on the ground, whoever we choose to work with for these initially, which we're talking to some other groups too.
sure.
That Sunset was the initial group that I spoke with. Then after that, I had a phone call where I coincidentally got on the phone with somebody else who made solar devices for a different group.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, totally coincidental. Same day.
That's
Actually, it
wild.
was the next day. It was the next day, but it was like right around the same time. And so, yeah, I got another group that I've talked to, and then I found there are others. So I'm still researching this, but there's a lot of people that are going to be interested in this. And the region, I think, once we get to the point where we have a device, it will then be to choose a region because the language, we're going to have to nail the
Yeah.
languages. That's the neat thing about this is we can turn back the Tower of Babel with this AI tech. And you talk about putting the word of God in people's hands.
Yeah.
All we got to do is nail language once. But with some of these languages, when you've got islands that have zero infrastructure, there is zero commercial incentive for anybody to go put that language in an LLM. The only reason anybody would do that is because they love those people and want to give them the
Right.
word of God.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. Because we're
No
going to
other
get nothing in
reason.
return. And so, why would anybody put the resources? It's going to take benevolent people who love Jesus with their whole heart, who
Yeah.
aren't storing up treasures where moth and rust destroy,
Yeah.
who are going to be willing to take some of the leaps to get the word of God into the hands of people that need it.
Have you,
And I want to be one of those people.
yeah, just out of curiosity, how many languages do you think there are out there that would have to be translated into? I have you looked? I mean, it's got to be a
it's
crazy
it's
amount, right?
it's I, I'm thinking you pick the biggest, you be strategic,
Yeah.
and this is part of what we will need boots on the ground help figuring
Yeah.
out. This is why I'm thinking there needs to be a massive organization for this that
Yeah.
looks at this from a global standpoint, because those are the types of questions that need to be have good answers.
Yeah.
Because if we have a limited amount of time in life and we want to make an impact, we want to go where we're going to have the most impact. And so I think being strategic with those resources, what languages we target, like where do we have the most receptivity? How is this going to connect, people to Jesus, to the right resources, to the right people, whatever. There's just a lot to think through.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see where it all heads for sure. I know you guys are kind of looking at down the road what that might look like. Like you mentioned cell phones, other things, other devices that you guys are looking at.
Yep.
Is this something that you feel like are you shifting all of your focus pretty much to this new track? Is that the plan? Is to kind
This
of
will be
yeah.
what I want to do with my business hours. I will have no plans of leaving local ministry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
knew you
love
would still
our
be preaching and teaching and doing all
Yeah,
that kind of
I
deal.
love our local church. I have no plans of leaving Collinsville or anything here. But in terms of the business stuff, I really want to align my business with my passion.
Yeah.
Um, I'm good at marketing. I mean, we've proven that.
Yeah.
We've made a lot of money for people with what we've built and still can, but
Yeah.
I am not passionate about making people money.
Sure.
I'm passionate about Jesus, and I really want my life to be a reflection of that passion, and I want my business to be a reflection of that passion. And if there's a way I can marry business know-how with biblical studies and lifting up the gospel and making much of Jesus to people and just getting them, I would love other people to be as passionate about the Bible as I am. Uh,
Yeah.
and I feel like the best thing I've got in my life is Jesus Christ, and I've got a friend I can talk to, and I've got a Lord, and I've got somebody I can look to as my example. And I know what it feels like to be lost. You know,
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to not know if you have a future. And I just can't thank Jesus enough for what he's done for me. And I want to make my life a sacrifice for him. And this business stuff, you can store up for yourself treasures where moth and rust destroy, or you can store up for yourself treasures where moth and rust do not destroy. And I really want to get to the end of my life and look behind me and say, there's people that are going to be with Jesus because of that, because
Yeah.
of what I did. And I want to teach my kids that. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what keeps my kids safe is kids, when you get to the end of your life, the only thing that's going to matter is did you live your life for Jesus?
Yeah.
And that really is at the end of it all, that is the only question that matters is who is Jesus Christ to you? And how did you relate to Jesus Christ? And did you try to love people, love God and love people the way Jesus Christ says to? And I think that looks different for different people, the way he wired us, but it all is going to come out in loving God and loving people if you're living life the way God has designed you to live it.
I heard somebody the other day, I thought it was a very interesting quote. They had made a comment, they were talking about the verse you just mentioned, and they made a comment about which bank are you making deposits in? And I just thought that was an interesting way to think about it because as an entrepreneur, we didn't get into entrepreneurship for a hobby. That's a really horrible hobby. I'd rather be fishing or doing something else. Like that's entrepreneurship. The design around it was let's create either income or impact or something. There's got to
Yep.
be something created out of it. And I know that's what you've been putting your time and attention and energy into is creating as much impact as you possibly can. For ministers that are out there that are thinking about how could I potentially, or what skill sets? I know you said you had to get new skill sets before, because everybody, like you just said, everybody's wired different. Everybody has a different opportunity in front of them. All of that AI is shifting things really rapidly right now. For somebody that's out there doing ministry, that would be like, look, I would love to do some other things. Do you see some opportunities for ministers right now in the AI space that you're like, this could be an opportunity for them?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of skills that AI makes way easier. And when it comes to digital marketing, there's so many
Sure,
different ways to offer services. And AI makes some task, anything involving writing, just makes it a breeze if you know
it
some
does.
basic prompting,
It does.
and you can get yourself into trouble if there are mistakes you can make for sure. But it just kind of depends. I could give a list of ideas, I think,
Yeah.
of different ways and different services you could offer
I know I
and niche
read
down.
something. Well, I know I read something today. Somebody had mentioned that right now, on average, if somebody has AI skills or at least has basic AI skills, on average, they can make another 18 grand a year at just their normal job that they have, just because people are so, most businesses want somebody with AI skills. How do you see it
Yeah.
impacting ministry moving forward, just out of curiosity?
Well, I think some guys are going to get incredibly lazy, but
Yeah. No
I
more
think it's
sermon
a good
study and
tool.
sermon writing and all that. It's gonna, yeah,
I do not use AI to write my lessons.
yeah,
I will use it to check scripture. It's really good for contextual history and things of a specific passage. If I say, "Hey, what's going on in the book of Philemon?" It's going to give me a really good like contextual summary on just about any model. And if
right,
there's variation in thought, it's going to tell me certain scholars think this, certain scholars think this, which is fair and it's really accurate. It at first really struggled on some of that stuff. It is really good. Like the models that are present now, just out of the box. And so I think making certain aspects of Bible study, it's giving you access to the world's best commentaries and Bible encyclopedias at your fingertips
right.
very quickly. And
Yeah,
I
you don't have to
love
have a whole
that.
library of that stuff anymore.
Where I think it's going to go crazy is where a popular answer is wrong and it gets into the model. That was a problem early on because most written content comes from a certain theological perspective.
Sure,
Many of your listeners are going to ascribe to Calvinism. That's how they grew up. That is mainstream. Several denominations in the United States ascribe to that way of thinking. Large portion of Southern Baptists, Presbyterian, and a few other denominational groups, they own the publishing houses. And so, a large percentage of the material is from a certain theological viewpoint if you're from, a non-Catholic perspective. And that large theological viewpoint that's reflected in the published material is what is indexed in the LLMs, therefore is going to be reflected in
sure.
most of the answers. So if
Yeah,
you come from a theological tradition that does not line up with, doctrine ABC from the larger groups that are out there, you're not going to be satisfied with some of the answers you get on certain topics.
yeah.
And
Because
so
it
I
is
think
just
that's going to be a
content driven.
challenge. It
Yeah,
is.
it's
It's
just
totally
content
content
driven.
driven, and it's just it's like the internet.
Yeah,
It's like old Google searches. It just works a little bit differently, a lot differently,
yeah,
and will continue to work a lot differently, which we'll have to keep pivoting. And this is part of the fun of working in search.
yeah.
Um,
I enjoy it. Honestly, I think I would get bored. I know you and I are kind of wired this way. I enjoy learning new things. I
I
enjoy having to
do.
go do the new thing. I enjoy the change. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy all of that. That's why I enjoy entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Well, I think when you get a web of knowledge built up in a certain area too, it's sort of your brain. When I become proficient in a discipline,
Yeah,
like I build up a web of knowledge. Like when I first hear about Nirvana, I don't know very much, and you can tell me 10 things about Nirvana and I'm not going to remember. But once I build up a web of knowledge about Nirvana, you may come tell me a piece of information that's brand new to me.
right,
Now I'm going to remember that new piece of information. I'm never going to forget it because
right.
I put it into this web where before, if you had given me that piece of information along with the other stuff, I'm not going to remember any of it. And so SEO is kind of like that for me. Anytime we have one of these new changes that comes along, I'm kind of like you. I've been in the game long enough where I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, we'll add this to the web.
yeah.
And I sort of like adding stuff to the web.
I do too.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, I
I do
agree.
too.
Kind of
And I
stimulating.
enjoy getting to see when we go do something and it actually works. Like it's
Hmm.
almost like Christmas morning again.
Well,
You
yeah,
start to see things actually work and do what
well,
it's
and
supposed to do.
when you can see things from a big picture and figure stuff out before everybody else. That's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I do, and you and I were talking about this a little bit before we got on the call today. There's going to be opportunities for nonprofits, churches, ministries to be able to take advantage of the
now's
way
the time.
AI works right now.
Yeah,
And
now's
you
the
could
time.
get your messaging out there, you can get your church or nonprofit out there
Yep.
in ways that nobody else is because they don't even realize that they need to do something different. And it's
Yep.
changing. It's
Yep.
changing rapidly. You're going to be teaching. I know I was talking to Tim the other day because I had taught that class on AI search at Harding. You're going to be teaching a class there. I know JC's teaching a class, doing some stuff with Harding right now. And man, when you get guys like us, it's kind of fun because we get to be the old guys right now that kind of
It's
know
so
what's
weird.
going on in the industry and bringing it to these college students in a way that they're going to be able to go out and make some impact with it. It's fun. It's a neat opportunity to be able to do that.
Yep.
If someone wanted to know more about what you guys are doing, I know you're kind of in the transition phase right now. How would they find you, get a hold of you? Where would they go to find out? Like, let's say somebody's watching right now and they're going, look, I want to be a part of what he's doing. Where do they go? Like, what do they do right now to help you?
Yeah,
Because I know
we'll
you
go
said
ahead
you were
and
looking for investment and that kind of thing.
we are, and I'll go ahead and put out the name. We have not officially launched, so
Okay.
I have onboarded a couple of churches. I do have a church SaaS product that we're going to be releasing soon, and our website is the brand is Connect My Church,
Okay.
and our website is connectmy.church. And so it's
Okay.
super simple. Still got some draft content there. If you listeners go there right now, there is a link to schedule a discovery call. But honestly, I am not pushing bookings real hard right now because we're still
Yeah.
like I haven't even fully onboarded my own church website.
Yeah.
And so we're still playing around with the automations and breaking stuff and figuring out how it works. And so what I had kind of planned to do was for the next 6 months or so was just play with the system and figure out what I like and what I hate. And we're kind of getting our onboarding stuff in place. And so we're really soft, launching right now. But we were planning to do a big push next year, maybe a conference or something. I was thinking about purchasing sponsorships at some big
Yeah.
conferences and doing a big push all at once. So right now you can see some content there. I've got some placeholder stuff there, which you can get an idea of what the company is about. But I am actively seeking an investor to come alongside me, and we need to raise probably 500,000 bucks or so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that down as slow as I can. But playing with the numbers here and working with these guys,
It takes a
just
lot
trying to
to
make it
get good
work.
programmers and engineers for
These
things like
guys are
this.
some of the best in the country. They really are good. Like I could tell you stories. One of them sold tons last year just out of his basement, Xboxes and PlayStations that he mods and
Yeah,
and
I was
sells on the internet.
fascinated when I
It's
was talking to him
hilarious.
about what he does.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
other
even know it was a
fella,
business.
the other fella, I went over to his house the other day and went and he was like, "Hey, I got to show you something. Come in my basement." And so I go in this dude's basement. There was not a 3D printer big enough to make a life-size R2D2 head. So he built the 3D printer to make the
Oh my
life-size
goodness.
R2D2 head. And then he made the blueprints available on the internet. So you can go on the internet and get the blueprints for his printer that he made in his basement
That's
to
fascinating.
make the R2D2 head. He's in charge of the local robotics club, one of the big robotics clubs in St. Louis. And so these guys are brilliant. They're brilliant, and they love Jesus.
Yeah.
And I want to help them be in a position where they can just put their talents to work. But they got mortgages, man. It's
Yeah.
not like they can just quit their jobs, and they're taking huge pay cuts
Yeah.
and what they're asking for is basically just what they need to cover their mortgage. So
Yeah.
um, I'm praying for that to for us to find the right person. And I've also got some contracts in place. I've already got some sales,
Yeah.
and I've got some contracts in place with some significant publishers in the Christian space, where I'm going to be building some beefy websites for biblical
Nice.
studies.
Good.
And I'm going to hopefully build one of the biggest biblical study sites in the United States. That's one of the things we're going to start working on.
I
And
love
so
it.
I'm going to be looking for partners and, people that are operating in that space. We'd like to come alongside. I've really gotten to where I've enjoyed John Whitaker's listeners commentary here recently. And so which I haven't even talked to him about it, but just guys like that caliber, that
Yeah.
caliber of scholar.
Yeah.
He is a super good New Testament scholar. And guys like the caliber you see at Renew or discipleship.org or
Yeah.
some of these other big publishers that are out there, they've got some movers and shakers and Christian leaders that we're getting to work with that I'm really excited about. I am so excited to be able to build AI tools around the minds of some of our very best biblical study scholars.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you going to be at any events coming up anytime soon? Are there any
um,
live events that are coming up?
I have been invited to speak at a few, and I am trying to get my calendar together. The only
Okay.
one that I'm aware of, I know I for sure can make, and it's more networking for me, is the national gathering for missionaries. It's going to be in Atlanta in November.
And it's a missions conference of some kind?
Yeah, I want to say it's the largest in the world, and it's the independent Christian churches that put it on, and it's
I
going to be
think
in
I went to
Georgia.
a event they put on one time in Indianapolis. They did a big
Yeah,
conference up there.
I'm not sure if it's the same one. I'll have to look up the information on it, but I know that's one that's coming up. I'm also going to the Harding Lectures
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's coming up, and then I had been invited to another event in Georgia at a guy named Orpheus Hayward's church.
Hmm,
Uh, that look like fun. It's something called the Nehemiah Conference, but I have not been able
nice.
to officially accept that yet because we're still working out our scheduling. So I haven't heard from them yet. Um,
Well, you got a few things going on, so it's hard to.
yeah, we got some stuff going on, and I do not like to travel.
Yeah,
I like staying home, especially on Sundays.
yeah. Well, you want to be with your home
So
church. I mean,
I do.
you guys started that thing from scratch. Y'all moved over there and planted that. That's a challenge in and of itself. So
Yeah, well, we had help.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't just
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. There
But
was a group of what, 30 of you or something
yeah,
like that?
about 30 of us. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty cool to see. And you guys, I think you told me that you guys are pushing close to 200 now,
Yeah, we've
or
got
should be by the end of the year.
yeah, we will be. I think we're probably 155 last Sunday, which that's
Nice.
up or down. We usually are between that and 170, but I'm hoping we'll get up with this semester. We usually get a few like when we start a new semester, we have a big push.
Yeah,
And so we usually will see some growth like around this time of year, where we'll get a few that'll place membership and stick. And so we always kind of see a little uptick. So
nice,
but then you
nice.
have some that become Christians, and then they do good for a while, and then something happens and they
Sure.
fall away. And so that happens sometimes. And so I know I didn't make it the first time I went to church. I was 15 and made commitments and then got into some trouble and then came back later. So
Yeah.
that was my story. And so that kind of thing happens sometimes. But
Yeah, the gospel message lived out can be a messy message, right? Like you were talking about churches earlier. It's just messy. It's just part of it. We live in a world that's broken and it can be a messy place for sure. And then you see the bright lights you were talking about, the ones that get it, the ones that change their lives and
yeah.
become Christians, and especially like Rise Recovery, these ladies that overcome massive addictions and stuff that's ruined their world many times with their families, kids,
Hmm.
everything. It's
Yep.
just kind of wild. If somebody wanted to find out more about Rise Recovery, I know we have a website for that, right? Rise
Yep.
Recovery St. Louis.
Rise Recovery STL.org. You can Google search Rise Recovery St. Louis, but Rise Recovery STL.org.
And
Great place to go.
are you guys taking ladies? Do you have room for more ladies
Sure.
right now?
Sure. You don't have to be from the area. You just need to get there. So we take people from out of town, but it's any lady that is struggling with addiction that is ready to get her life together and is willing to commit to a year in a program. we can't take everybody. We're not a medical facility. So
Right.
if there are major medications or medical issues where, they can't walk or things like that, there's going to be certain cases we can't take. But if they're in reasonably good health and just want to get off drugs and are willing to come to a faith-based program, we can help them do that and give them a place. Help them get on their feet and give them all the love and support and accountability. They would just have to be willing to do that.
I was just going to ask about you have a fundraiser coming up too, right? You said
We
that there
do.
would be something towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think at the end of November, I want to say it's the 22nd. I'll have to go look and make sure, but I think we're having a fundraiser, and I'm going to make it where you can make online donations this time. Last time
Oh,
we didn't have
nice.
that system set up.
Nice.
So we're going to have a system set up for online donations. So we'll be able to get anybody listening, if you want to participate. Those donations, this is sort of like Rise Recovery. It's the poor. The poor are always with you. This will always be a need. There's
Yeah.
there's never going to be a time Rise Recovery doesn't need donations where they're just functioning on their own because they're poor. We're helping the poor. And so that's what your donation is going to do. It's going to pay for groceries and
Yeah.
tangible toiletries, and things like that these ladies are using. And so 100% of it is going to that. We have two staff, one staff on time, full time that we pay. She gets a small salary. We have one other house mom that's a helper that drives over. She gets a small salary. Those are the only two paid positions for the whole program. Those ladies allow us to run. We've had a donor buy a farm, 10-acre farm, and give it to us. And so we've got a fully functioning farm with animals and stuff on it that the ladies run. And they're out in the country. We don't advertise the address, and they're able just to go out there and get their food, clothing, all that stuff. We have donors that kick in, and we try to get as much of that, handled as we can for them. And they don't have to pay a dime. They come in and they're just able to focus on health and getting well, getting their lives back together. And we're also tightly connected to local churches. And so once they get to a point where they can graduate, there will be care given to them and in what they do afterwards. Because one of the problems with programs like this, a lot of times, is handoff. And so we're trying to be strategic and where do you go after this, and trying to coach them. Don't go back to your stupid boyfriend that you were doing drugs with, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Please don't do
Yeah.
that. And that's a constant battle.
Yeah.
And so it's just, we're trying to do everything we can to give them the opportunity, and whether they take advantage of the opportunity or not is going to be up to them. But we're trying to make it as easy as we can. I'm an addict, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little crass sometimes when we start talking about addicts, because I know how it is. And I know what a troublemaker I was when I was struggling, when I was trying to hide and not show people what I was doing. I know how easy it is to do that when you're struggling. So, and the thing is, this whole program is run by people that are former addicts, and so we all
know
you ain't gonna get nothing by us.
Yeah, you all know.
I mean, I shouldn't say that because they do sometimes, but we're always looking. I'll put it that way, because we know how it is. Like we know how that mindset is, and how insidious that stuff can be. And so that's partially why we have such a heart for it, though, is we know what it is to struggle, and we want to help. So that's really what motivates us.
Somebody could go right now to the website if they wanted to donate. They could go there and donate, because I know there's a donation link on the website.
Yep.
And then also they could participate in the upcoming event. You guys can follow Rise Recovery on Facebook or the website. It'll have information about that. And then
you can buy your book too, because you sell a book where 100% of the proceeds go to Rise Recovery.
This little book right here. Yeah.
There you go.
100% of the proceeds. It's
Love is to give,
and it's available on Amazon.
You don't have to be poor to be a Christian.
Yeah. It's kind of been neat to watch. I had one of our students the other day. He was in Peru or somewhere, and he's up on a mountaintop, and he took a picture of the book while he was up on the mountaintop, because he had taken the book with him down there. He was doing some missions work, and he was like, I just wanted to be reminded about why I do what I do and really get money, because we have all these weird beliefs about money. And he was like, I just really want to get my mind wrapped around, what do I really believe about money? And so he's sitting in Peru on top of a mountain reading To Love Is to Give, and then sending me a picture going, hey, Great book. Thank you so much for writing it. And I was going, huh, that's pretty cool. Like he's just a
That's
neat
pretty
guy.
cool.
So it's pretty neat to hear. But yeah, all the proceeds go to Rise Recovery. We've wanted to make sure and get that pushed out, and that's available on Amazon for sure.
Yes, and we do see those donations when they come through. I'm on the board, and so I see those notifications when a donation comes in. And last time there was a bulk order of those books, I
Yeah.
saw it come through to Rise
Yeah.
Recovery, and so I appreciate that. I know the ladies appreciate that.
Yeah. Every little
So
dollar helps. I've
yeah,
ran the children's homes before and done some of that. Boy, you just don't realize how much money it requires, and then really just what all's required to keep something like that open and keep it
yep,
moving and keep it working and functioning.
it's
And those ladies
expensive.
they don't just show up and just sit there all day. They
No,
have responsibilities and they learn, and they're learning job skills, and they're doing church, and they're doing all kinds of things. And you
yep.
guys have a working, almost kind of like a little working farm out there. It's kind
It
of
is.
cool.
It's a full day. You know, they wake up at a certain time. They have a scheduled set day.
Yeah.
They have different Christian leaders and pastors and counselors that come in and work with them. I'm one of them. I go over usually on Tuesdays and for a couple hours teach them the Bible. And so there's constantly activity, and that's part of the therapeutic nature is staying busy when
Yeah.
you're highly physically addicted to something. That's one of the things that keeps you sane is just going out and working in the garden, going out and tending the chickens, going out and getting out in the sunlight, touching grass and you know, get to know God by going out and being in creation as well. So it's really, really healthy.
If there was anything as we wrap up, is there anything that you as a church leader, you've been involved in digital marketing, and I know you were one of the early adopters of AI because you and I were talking about it, and you were doing stuff back before anybody was even messing with some of this stuff,
Yeah.
kind
I
of
was
learning how it
using
works.
I was using tools before Jasper got cool. And so I'm really early to the game.
Yeah, you're kind of an OG in the AI world at this
That's
point.
right. That's right. I run with the big dogs. Jonathan
Is there?
Nass knows my name.
Yeah, yeah. Jonathan's a great dude. Um, is there anything that you would like to tell the listeners right now, or give advice, or any last thoughts that you would like to leave everyone?
No, I would just say, man, your business is secondary to your faith.
Yeah,
Don't ever forget what is most important, and that's Jesus. And whatever we do, this is all moth and rust. If it's not working towards something that is eternal, it's all moth and rust.
yeah,
And so, whatever you're doing with your life, I would just encourage you not to waste it because wise man once said one of the greatest tragedies on planet Earth is being really, really successful at something that doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah. Well, that was great advice. Thank you so much for being on the show, sharing your journey today from church planning to building digital businesses, innovating ways to spread the gospel around the world. For everybody listening, I want to encourage you, don't just build for profit, just like what Wes said. Build for kingdom impact. That's what it's all about. If
Amen.
today's episode inspired you, do these three things: subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. It really helps people to discover this message, helps to get it into the right hands, and share the stories like what we talked about today. Number two, connect with Wes. Guys, follow his journey as he equips churches, ministries, and you're going to want to know about it as he gets closer to getting these devices out there. For all of you that's a passion or that's something that you would really want to know about, make sure that you follow him. And then check out To Love Is to Give. Every dollar goes to Rise Recovery St. Louis, helping women in recovery build their lives through faith. We want to make sure and get the message out there. I hope it'll bless you like it's blessed us. I know it helps the women that are in Rise Recovery and helps them to get better and recover from the things that they're struggling with. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. This is The Forge, where leaders are made and legacies are built, and I'll see you next Thursday.